It's Saturday, February 15th. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blancolirio channel, and it's time for a Northern California update because it's been several weeks since we've had any measurable rain in the Blancolirio rain gauge. Let's go check it out. Here in Northern California, the Mediterranean climate means that we typically get most of all of our rain in the winter time, and then we endure a long, hot, dry, warm, sunny summer. It's been weeks since we've gotten any measurable rain here in the rain gauge, and the 7-day forecast looks rather bleak for another 7 days of dry weather. What happens here in Northern California frequently during the winter time is we get dry winters with a persistent high pressure off of the coast of California. If this condition persists over a couple of years, we can once again find ourselves in a serious drought situation. So let's take a look at some of the numbers here online and see what's cooking. Snowpack surveys show that the Northern Sierra is at 62% of normal to date. This is as of 13 February of this year. The Central Sierra at 56% of normal to date, and the Southern Sierra at 53% of normal to date. These numbers represent the normal for the entire year, so we're less than 0.5% of the desired snowpack for the entire snow and rain season. Last year I measured, at this time last year, I had about 40 inches of precipitation measured here at headquarters, and this year I've got about 20 inches of precipitation measured to date, with the rain season starting about 1 October. So about half of where we should be. And here's the reason why, and this is a very common pattern here in dry years in Northern California, where we get a persistent high pressure off of the coast of California. This is the 500 millibar chart, which takes a slice through the atmosphere at about 18,000 feet, bars of equal pressure. So this high pressure between Hawaii, located here, and the coast of California here, pushes the jet stream up and over and into the Pacific Northwest, and then down into the rest of the country, where you guys are getting clobbered. Meanwhile, we remain dry. Now, if we look at the 7-day forecast, it looks very dry with maybe a chance at rain on 23 February, but that's pretty far out. We'll have to watch that as it develops. In order to meet the water demands for the millions of water users here in the state of California, despite dry or wet conditions, we have a very complicated water aqueduct conveyance system and series of dams in Northern California, Central California, that conveys water all through the entire state to the very thirsty Southern California. Keystone to that is the Oroville Dam, which we've covered extensively, so let's take a look at what's going on at Oroville now. This is the 360-day look at Oroville. So this is a year of elevation, water elevation at Oroville Dam. Here's today, we're sitting at a little over 800 feet. Remember, the top of Oroville Dam is about 900 feet. Oroville, its primary job is flood control, especially during this time of year, so they need to keep the water level down to about 850 feet or less until the rainy season leaves California, and then they can allow the reservoir to fill up. So here we are looking at last year at this date and time. They were down to, well, they had a little bit less water because of the construction. They were down to about 760 feet, and they allowed the reservoir to fill up. Remember, they ran the spillway briefly there in April. There's a little dip in the curve there. They allow it to fill up safely, maintaining plenty of flood control space, and then at the end of the rain season, using the runoff from the snowpack, they can allow the reservoir to top off right near 900 feet. Remember, everybody freaked out about that right after the construction, saying, why do you want to fill up the reservoir when you just finished all this construction? Because you don't know the future. That's why. Because look what happened since then. They had to use that water up all year long, all summer long, getting water to all the customers downstream until it bottomed out here in about December. back down about 760 feet, and now the reservoir is very slowly filling up, much more slowly than it did last year to its current level. We've still got plenty of space below the flood control space, and the big question is, will we have enough water to fill the reservoir up again this year from this year's snowpack? So the only reason we're looking this good with water in Oroville at this time is because we had such a surplus of water last year. They were able to fill the reservoir up. So we're basically going to live this year off of last year's water. So if this remains a persistent dry winter, this could mean another long, hot fire season next year. But of course, they say that every year. If we get lots of rain, they say that'll mean a lot of grass to start fires in the next fire season. Or if we get a dry season, that'll cause a hot, dry, long fire season. Regardless, with the situation with PG&E and the wind situation, we can look forward to additional power outages, public safety power outages from PG&E next year. Keep your generators handy. I hope this gives you a better understanding of what's going on here in Northern California with our water situation and a potential drought situation shaping up. We'll keep you posted here on the Blancolirio channel. More aviation news next week. See you then.